When we last saw the Man of Steel in Absolute Superman issue 1, the final moments of Krypton unfolded in vivid detail, spotlighting the fall of a visionary scientist named Jor-El. Banished to the working class for challenging the elite scientist class, he dared to speak out against their dismissal of Krypton's ecological collapse. How far will the echoes of his defiance reach into the legacy of his son, Kal-El? Fast forward to the present day. Kal-El moves in secrecy, flitting from place to place as he shields exploited laborers from the iron grip of the Lazarus Corporation. But the issue reached a tense cliffhanger when a Lazarus strike team closed in on Kal-El, led by none other than Officer Lois Lane. Absolute Superman issue 2 rewinds the clock 6 years before this moment of confrontation. On Krypton, we see a teacher conducting a virtual classroom session, walking among students and commending their reports. However, the teacher is stunned when she discovers that young Kal-El submitted a handwritten report, rejecting the use of the generative AI that pulls exclusively from the Science League's knowledge vaults. Back in the present, the narrative snaps to a gripping scene. Kal-El is shackled to Lois Lane with cuffs he can't immediately break. She doesn't flinch as she commands him to kneel, surrounded by peacemakers and Lazarus soldiers, all with weapons trained on him. Before we continue, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and recommend it on social media, which helps small content creators like me. To drive her point home, while Kal-El attempts to unlock the cuffs with measured calm, Lois shoots him in the face without hesitation. In a fiery response, Sol, Kal's sentient suit, unleashes a plasma tentacle to work on the restraints, but the process will take precious time. The soldiers, misinterpreting Kal-El's actions and words as a threat to Lois, are given the green light to fire, even if it means sacrificing her in the process. In a swift response, Sol generates a cape-like barrier made of Kryptonian dust, shielding them both from the oncoming barrage. As Kal-El debates with Sol about dismantling the cuffs and escaping the peacemakers, Lois interrupts by shooting him in the face once more. She promises that surrendering would end the chaos, but Kal and Sol clearly have other plans. Without warning, Kal-El launches into a towering leap, dragging a stunned Lois with him, the cuffs still binding them and his cape keeping them aloft. However, their flight is cut short by a helicopter that manages to strike them with a missile mid-air, sending both crashing into a small village church. Amid the wreckage, Kal-El hoists Lois and starts moving her to safety, only for her to shoot him in the face yet again, as she desperately tries to re-establish contact with her team. The pair engage in a fiery argument over Lazarus Corp's motives and Kal-El's secretive past, but their exchange is abruptly silenced by a missile exploding dangerously close. This close call reinforces Kal's warning to Lois. Lazarus Corp has no regard for anyone, not even her. Kal-El taps into his raw power, lifting a nearby car and hurling it with precision at the helicopter, sending it crashing into a nearby building. He and Lois then pivot to a search and rescue operation as the village is rapidly overtaken by a fast-spreading fire. Sol extends the dust cape to shield nearby villagers, while Kal-El guides them toward safety. Using his cape again, he applies the Kryptonian dust to heal their injuries and employs his frost breath to extinguish the flames. Meanwhile, Lois briefly considers drawing her gun to restrain him, but she hesitates and lowers it. The previous sequences highlight several key aspects of the story, starting with Superman's extraordinary suit. Its unique abilities, including the power to communicate exclusively with Superman, introduce an exhilarating sci-fi twist to his character. Another highlight is Superman's unwavering heroism, as he rescues the villagers and begins to dismantle Lois's perception of him as a threat to humanity. Back to the story, Sol manages to deactivate the handcuffs binding Kal-El and Lois. As Lois urges him to stay, Kal-El leaps away with such force that the surrounding debris rises in his wake. During the aftermath of their rescue mission, Lois narrates her after-action report to the Brainiac AI, vividly detailing Kal's demeanor, appearance, and even his scent with surprisingly poetic language. This Lois is possibly the most evocative version of Lois Lane we've ever seen. The issue wraps up with Lois growing increasingly exasperated by the Brainiac AI's clinical interpretation of her report, sparking within her a renewed passion for writing. Next, we're treated to a flashback of Kal's parents designing the suit that Kal now wears, a hybrid of a spacesuit and rocket ship. Their quiet concern over Krypton's dwindling lifespan contrasts with the scene of a young Cal playing joyfully with his dog, blissfully unaware of the looming catastrophe. Meanwhile, back in the present, the Peacemakers prepare to unleash their fury on the local villagers in what may become a chilling massacre. This installment enriches Superman's mythos by intertwining a fresh perspective on his Kryptonian heritage with an inventive portrayal of Lois Lane, balancing gripping action with methodical world-building. Although the true villain remains hidden, the issue masterfully sets up a thrilling narrative arc, supported by stunning visuals and a revitalized take on this legendary hero.